Okay, Dad. It's okay, Dad. I know my phone's on. Hi. That Grandpa? Daddy? Hi, Mom. Happy birthday!
Just like me, look at you. Hi.
Happy birthday! Look at Grandpa, baby, give me a stick now.
Come here, beautiful.
3 generations.
Yes, sir.
3 generations.
That's beautiful.
Hi.
Just like him.
That's your granddad. That's your granddad.
Hi, Grandma.
Your granddad.
That's your other
That's your
papa.
daddy's daddy. And my daddy. And my daddy.
You know, life will beat you up in ways that you could never guess or anticipate. Such is the nature of the beast. And you will be tested in ways that you don't anticipate, because that's the point. If you knew the answers to the test, if you knew what was coming, then it wouldn't be a test. When I heard that man, that grown man, when I heard his voice for the first time, this must be the 6th or 7th time watching that video now. I keep watching it over and over. I posted it on my Instagram a few weeks ago. And despite the fact that I've watched that 6 or 7 times now, it still makes the hairs on my arm stand up. It makes them stand on end. Because when I hear that cry in his voice from this grown man who looks like must be late 30s, maybe even 40s, I hear years, maybe even decades of pain. Decades of pain. I don't know the backstory to this. I don't know anything. But that almost like howling pain, it really penetrates your soul. And how many young men and women, for that matter, are growing up fatherless? Because we are a fatherless nation. The West in general, we're a fatherless empire, growing up without fathers. So many children being raised in single mother households, and the consequences thereof are beginning to rear their ugly heads, its ugly head. And I know that there is one of you are watching this right now. You're watching this, and you have either been through or are currently going through parental alienation. I know this because I speak with you. I know this because I have been you. I know this because I am you. And I don't want to make this video about me. But you mothers will never truly appreciate the damage you are doing to your children, firstly and foremostly, forget about your ex or whoever he is to you, ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, whatever. Forget about him. All right, he's secondary in this equation. We're grown men, we'll deal with it. But you will never be able to fathom the pain and the consequences of this alienation that you are imposing upon your children because you feel a certain type of way towards your ex until they grow up. I will never forget when the judge said to me in court once, he said, one day your children will grow up and figure out for themselves who the real problem was. He said that years ago, and it rings in my ears to this day. They will grow up and they will figure out for themselves who the problem was. And you see, the greatest tragedy of parental alienation is time. Space we can recover. Time, never. Can't remember who said that. Type it on Google, it will come up. Maybe it was Napoleon or something like this. Space we can recover, time never. And the greatest tragedy of parental alienation is that you will never get back that time. Those precious years that a child is a child, very short period of time, you will inevitably be reunited with them as adults at some point or another. Either you will find them or they will find you. It's the way most stories go. But that time when they were children, that beautiful time, you will never get that back. And that time, to you mothers who are alienating the fathers of your children from them, you need to understand that that gaping hole that is now in their life, there's a tax that must be paid upon that. There are consequences and repercussions that must and will be paid. Consequences, repercussions to their personality, to their mental health, to their physical health. Dr. Warren Farrell covers this in The Boy Crisis, that children raised in single mother homes specifically, single parent homes in general, both whether it's single father or single mother, are inferior to the nuclear home, which is where mum and dad and the children are raised with mum and dad together. However, on all metrics, children fare worse in single mother homes than single father homes. This is not a knock to the single mums who are doing their best and who are facilitating contact. It's not a knock to you. You're doing your best, you're trying your hardest. This is a knock to those single mums who are alienating their children from their father, and the father from their children. And perhaps it's more apt to put it that way around. You're alienating the father from your children. It's called smiting your nose to hurt your face. In order to hurt him, you're willing to hurt yourself, because that's exactly what you're doing. How are you hurting yourself? Because you're damaging the very children you claim to love. The very children you claim to love. You're damaging them. 70% of all youth self-deletions come from single mother homes. 90% of all homeless and runaway children come from single mother homes. And the principal reason behind this is because mums lack the authority that dads tend to have. The job role of the dad is to police his kids before the police do. That's his job. And it's much harder for you to do this because it's not in your skill set. Just as nurturing and caring and waking up in the middle of the night over and over is not in our skill set. As men, it's not one of our primary skills. Equally, it's not in your skill set to be able to put your foot down and have that authoritarian role and presence in the lives of your children. Even your voice doesn't have the same effect upon a child the way that a father or a man's voice has. The baritone, the depth, it has a different effect. This is not a knock. This is just an objective reality. But the price will be paid. It must be paid. And unfortunately for these women who do alienate their children from their fathers, is that perhaps you win, quote unquote, and you don't win, but because you're harming the children, but you get your little feel good in the short term. But in the long run, the children will hate you. Once they come to realize who the problem really was, the children will come to hate you, or at a minimum, have a lifelong contempt for you. And guys, with regards to this video, I don't want to see the comments. What's the little girl doing there? Shouldn't be there. It's not a place for children. Please. We have no idea what the backdrop to this story is. None whatsoever. Just appreciate the moment. Appreciate the beauty of that moment, that we were able to see that, witness that, hear that. That bone-trembling sound that came from deep within his chest. That sound of years of pain deep within his soul.